Maybe I'll play a couple.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
All right, couple more.
With consent.
With consent.
I have cold beer here. Do you want a beer?
You have cold what?
Cold beer.
Oh, cold beer. Jeez, you scared me for a second.
No.
Is that the French one?
Corona. Did you hear that? I'm pretty sure I heard like Americans. I love them, but I hate them. We were like, we're not buying Corona beer.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't, it can't be traced through the beer. We're like, we just need to be safe. We're not doing it. Idiots! This is a song that I wrote with an old friend by the name Aaron Propp. Does anybody know who Aaron Propp is? Yeah, that's cool. She's a jazz singer, a performer here in Winnipeg. She's wonderful. And we got a chance. I didn't know her at the time. We were both involved in a songwriters retreat, and it was at the Pinewood Inn or whatever in the White Shell, and not that means anything, but there was a number of artists there and all sorts of people who were involved in producing music and whatever, and it was our day to write a song together, and so we were in our room and we didn't know each other. I didn't know her, and so I thought, well, we're gonna write a song. Let's just have a little chat. So figure out what we're gonna write about. So I said, my name is JD. She said, hi, my name's Aaron. I said, I live in Winnipeg. She says, I live in Winnipeg too. I'm like, all right. I got a crummy old house in Winnipeg. She says, man, I got one of those too. Crummy old house. I said, all right, we're getting somewhere. And I said, well, out back of my house, I got a real old garage. And she says, man, I got one of those too. And I said, well, that's what we're going to write about. So this song is called Old Garage. It's OL apostrophe garage. And so we started writing about the garage. And at one point we thought, well, maybe we should write somebody into the garage. And she said, well, I used to go with my sisters over to my grandparents' house, and we would hang out in the garage with Grandpa. And he would teach us how to make bird feeders or, use the tools, and we'd listen to the radio, he'd tell us old stories, and that was great. Put that in there. I said I had 3 grandfathers. My father's father passed away when I was very young. I didn't know him that well. I only have a couple of memories of him. And he passed away when I was still a young kid. And then my mother's father, I knew him a little bit better. They lived in BC. I grew up in Oshawa, Southern Ontario. And so sometimes they would come and visit. When my grandfather was young, they owned 2 funeral homes. So they did all right with money. And in fact, I remember my dad telling me one of the first dates he had with my mom was in a hearse, because they didn't have a car, so they borrowed the hearse. That's pretty dope. But he would, I knew him a little more, a little bit better, and they would come and visit, and he would always like to rent a Cadillac, so he would drive us around in a Cadillac, and he would drive us to Denny's, and we'd eat Denny's. I just remember that a lot. But then when I was in my young teenage years, he passed on too. And then a number of years later, my father's mother remarried another gentleman, and they lived their 90s together before they passed on to the choir in the sky, So I thought those are all good stories. She thought they were good stories. And then I said, well, the house that I live in now in Riverview with my wife used to be owned by her grandparents, and her grandmother actually passed away in the house. We sometimes think she's still there, but her grandfather was one of these guys on the street, had all the tools. He was always kind and generous. He was always willing to help out if a neighbor needed to dig a hole or build a fence, whatever, he would always be there to help or lend a hand or tools. And he passed away about a month after we were married. So we dedicate this song to our grandfathers. I think Aaron and I think we're pretty lucky with our grandfathers. We had some good ones, I think. Not everybody has good ones. So perhaps this is a song that reminds you of someone else or some other feeling. But for me, this one's for my grandfathers. It feels like it's. old garage out back of my house. It's been there since 1962. And the woods are rotten and it's leaning to one side. The foundation's cracked, yeah, but the treasures I find remind me of my old grandpa and how we'd spend most every night with old Grams looking out from the house, wondering what he's doing inside. 1940s 4-year-old. Yeah, he been learning everything that he knows, from rock and roll radio. Now, I can still hear him humming. I put on the blue suede, echoing off the walls of this old garage. Gloves and a spade, yeah. Tools for every job. He was the jack of all trades. Cigars for the bread and the whiskey for the wine, and the holy moments growing on the vines outside, where we spend the nights underneath the light, listening to the stories of the days gone by. 1940s 1-year-old. Yeah, he been learning everything that he knows, from preacher talking radio. Now, I can still hear him humming. Echoing off the walls of the soul.